27-year-old Charlotte Powell had been missing since July 1987. Her body was found in December of 1987. Her body was missing of clothes and was positioned in a way indicating that she had been raped. Her family filed a missing persons report in Pennsylvania, but her body was found in Loudoun County, Virginia. It has been almost 30 years, and there's still no leads on this case. Veronica Hepworth's partially clothed body was found alongside a driveway in Loudoun County on February 25, 1982. She was last seen at 1:30 a.m. at a local bar on Route 1 in Fairfax County, celebrating a friend's birthday party. Witnesses say a red pickup truck was seen near the farm where her body was left. Investigators interviewed the owner of the bar and the bands that were playing there that night at the time of her disappearance, even going as far as to North Carolina to try and find one of the bouncers at the bar. He was already dead, and the lead evaporated. Eventually, they identified a boyfriend, but that turned out to be another dead end. They then started pursuing another boyfriend that they believe she dated for about 3 weeks before they broke up. According to law enforcement officials close to the case, he may have been the last person to see her alive, but is not a suspect at this time. This is a composite progressed sketch of Ronnie's last serious boyfriend. The picture beside him is what he looked like in the 80s. I would also like to say that a red pickup truck, possibly a late 1960s or 1970s model, was spotted near the farm where her body was found. I will leave a link below if you have any information of the man in the photograph or any information on this case, because it still remains solved as of the time of the recording of this video. On the evening of June 24th, 1978, 3 women's bodies were found lying side by side on the floor of the trailer. Each had been shot once in the back of the head with a handgun. Their purses had been rifled, but there was no sign of struggle or sexual assault. One of the victims, Karen Scarbrough, was a 17-year-old Fredericksburg, Virginia native who had just graduated from high school and was on her first day of work as a receptionist. The other 2 women, Sharon Lake, 25 years old, and Deborah Frank, 23 years old, were friends whose husbands worked together at the Pentagon. Lake, from Dale City, was a first-grade teacher, and Frank, from Alexandria, worked for a McLean consulting firm. Police believe that Lake and Frank walked into the trailer to pick up literature on houses in the area, or may have stumbled on a robbery or intended rape. But officers are still baffled as to why these 3 women had been murdered. There was a suspect who police and prosecutors generally agree is the top suspect in the case and was seen in the area of the killings. He contradicted himself in interviews with law enforcement officials, but there was never enough evidence to charge him. To this day, the case remains cold. The Colonial Parkway may look beautiful, but it has a dark and mysterious past. Kathleen Thomas and Rebecca Dowski On October 12, 1986, Columbus Day weekend, their bodies were found inside of Thomas's white 1980 Honda Civic. An autopsy found rope burns on their necks, wrists, signs of strangulation. Their throats had also been slashed, and diesel fuel was poured over their bodies and the car, but it apparently failed to ignite. Thomas struggled with her attacker. A clump of hair was later found between her fingernails. Both women were fully clothed, and there was no evidence of robbery or sexual assault. It was considered a murder. On April 10, 1988, Christopher Newport University students Cassandra Hailey, 18 years old, and Richard Call, 20 years old, were reported missing after attending a party in the University Square area in Newport News during their first date together. Call's red 1982 Toyota Celica was found unoccupied at the York River overlook on the Colonial Parkway the next day with some articles of clothing inside. Neither body has been found. Both are presumed dead. On September 22, 1987, David Knobling, 20 years old, and Robin Edwards, 14 years old, were found shot to death in Ragged Island Wildlife Refuge on the south shore of the James River. Knobling's black Ford Ranger pickup truck was found at the refuge parking area next to the James River Bridge with the wipers and radio on and some articles of clothing inside. 3 days later, the two bodies were discovered by Knobling's father in a search party along the water's edge of the James River. On October 19, 1989, the bodies of Annamarie Phelps, 18 years old, and Daniel Lauer, 21 years old, were found in New Kent County by hunters in the woods near a rest area on Interstate 64 between Williamsburg and Richmond. Phelps had been dating Lauer's brother at the time they went missing on September 5, 1989, Labor Day weekend. They vanished en route to Virginia Beach. The hunters discovered the bodies on a logging road about a quarter of a mile from Courthouse Road, a location about a mile from the I-64 New Kent rest stop, where Lauer's gold 1972 Chevrolet Nova had been found, heading in the wrong direction, away from their intended Virginia Beach destination. At least one of the badly decomposed bodies appeared to have suffered a knife wound. The Colonial Parkway murders have been heavily covered in media, such as documentaries on TV, news outlets, and stories. But to no avail, there has never been a suspect in custody over the Colonial Parkway murders. To this day, the case remains unsolved.